Section 2.4, number 7. And this time, notice that the two numbers compared to number 6, or my example. So if you look at these two numbers, they are very close to 1. So we're going to pick 1 as our benchmark. Again, why are they close to 1? Because if you look at the number 1, means you divide a whole into 22 equal parts, because the reason I picked 22 is I want to get the same denominator. And then if you take all 22 parts, that would be 1. Okay. Similarly, 56, 57 is also very close to 1, because 1 is, if we use the denominator 57, we divide one whole into 57 equal parts, and we take all 57 of them. So that's 1. And notice the numerator 21 is very close to 22, and 56 is very close to 57. So it's just a tiny distance away from 1. Okay, so this is what we're going to pick as our benchmark. So again, I can use a number line to help us view this. So here, that's number 1 as our benchmark. Both numbers are smaller than 1, but one of them is going to be closer to 1. The other is going to be a little bit further away from 1. So we just need to figure out which one is which. Again, we're going to do distance, but this time it's 1. It's a little easier. So we're going to do 1 minus the first fraction, which is 21 over 22. Now, 1, I already kind of talked about it. If you convert 1, because right now, 1 means 1 over 1. They have different denominators. We cannot really subtract them. But if I convert 1 to the same denominator, 22, and the numerators has to be 22, because 22 divided by 22, literally that's 1. So instead of using 1 here, we're going to replace that number 1 with 22 over 22. Now, 22 parts minus 21 parts, we have 1 part. The size doesn't change, so we keep the denominator. So same thing, if we try to figure out, so this one, this number we got is the distance from 22nd to 1. So now we're going to do 1 minus 56 57th. And again, 56 57ths can be written as, 1 can be written as 57 57th. Because the reason I use 57 because I want to get the same denominator as 57. So we're going to get rid of this one and replace it with the 57 57th. And now let's look at the subtraction. 57 parts minus 56 parts, we have 1 part, and the size doesn't change, so we still have 57. And this answer we just got is how far 56 57th is away from 1. So from this number to 1. Okay, so now we figure out how far away each number from 1. Now we need to know which distance is shorter. So when you look at these two, they both have the same numerator, 1 and 1. And whichever has, so it's like your class got a 1 pizza, my class got a 1 pizza. But if you only have 22 students, but I have 57 students, you have less number of students, which means everybody's going to get a bigger share. So, or in other words, this number is bigger. 1 over 22nd is bigger than 1 over 57, and which is what we sort of explained in one of the homework questions. So when you have a smaller denominator, the fraction is bigger. Okay, so 22nd, why we explain that? I mean, if you don't want to explain, that should be okay. But if you do need to understand why 1 over 27 is bigger, okay? And 1 over 57 is smaller. So when you have a smaller distance to 1, that means it's closer to 1. So we have to put this number 56 57th closer to 1 compared to 21 22nd. Okay, once we got that figured out, the position for the two numbers, you can ignore the benchmark 1. Just look at which number is on the right side, which to the right. So this one is to right of 21 22nd. So that means it's bigger.